Linda, thank you very much for accepting our invitation. And I would like to start by asking you, what are the main challenges that global meetings industry is facing nowadays?
Thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure. Oh my God, where do you want me to start? We are living in total uncertainty and chaos. I think that for our industry, the main challenges at the moment is mobility. One of the great problems is that countries are turning inwards. There's loads of problems with visas and with being able to bring in senior speakers or even delegates. I just had the experience last week of the 3 of my delegates being sent home before I even knew they had landed, because there is a mistrust that is creating antagonisms. And so we're having loads of problems because of the insecurity problem. And that means that we ourselves, all the countries, are turning inwards and becoming much more protectionist, even without a reason to. Everything is suspicious. Everything is a problem. So we have opted to work closely with governments so that we find ways around this to save our speakers and to save our delegates, because it's important. The other problem that we're having is expense. It's becoming incredibly expensive to create a quality event, okay? The increase in prices in everything across the board, increase in energy prices, increase in the food prices, it's incredible. The amount, all of this problem, for example, with the tariffs in the USA, and for example, for all our events in the USA, there's no longer any government support unless the PCO is local. Okay. So we're having those problems, which means that we're veering to Canada a lot. And it's just a question of uncertainty, insecurity, suspicion. People internationally are not really aware of the geographic space. So if the television is obsessively talking about the invasion of Ukraine, everybody thinks Ukraine is in Lisbon or something like that. So you've got all this added burden of communication. So you need to be communicating a lot more, because people don't really know where places are. And there's a war in Europe, and now there's drones over Poland. So maybe I'm going to be in Europe and the war will start. So there's all this insecurity. People feel insecure, and there's kind of a lot of fear mongering. So the context of the world as far as security is a big issue for our industry. And I think we're going to feel it more over the next 2 years. It's going to really impact. And costs. A lot of events are choosing to stay close to home in places where they have relationships, because costs are beyond acceptable at the moment to move people. And you know that flights are increasing exponentially. And then the other costs. Technology is the only cost that's becoming a little bit more reasonable, which is something strange for me to say, but that's happening.
Mm-hmm. And how can PCOs address those challenges?
Okay, we have to be smart. Our job is not to be tour guides, okay? Our job is to create business. We are managers. We are CEOs. We are strategic people. We have to start becoming really strategic. The job of a PCO should be, and I have always believed this, but now it's even more imperative, to gather the right partners together, but to have a strategic mindset. And that is, these are the issues. How can I partner with the destination, with everyone, all the value chain, so that everyone can have value, but we can also bring value to the meeting and to our delegates? Because remember, we're here at ICCA, and ICCA is about associations, and an association event is different from a corporate event. In a corporate event, someone comes along with a check and says, I've got 300,000 euros or €500,000. I want an event designed for this budget. With association events, they come to you, say, we have zilch, nothing. Okay. And we want to have 2,000 people for a week in Porto, for example. And the budget will be constructed as the event goes on. So our job is to be strategic, to help them bring the finance in, to help convince the market or the community, be it business or medicine or whatever, that this is a good thing for the community, that this adds value to the science, to the companies, and to the destination. And it's about bringing all the partners on board. I've been preaching in the desert for many years about how to marry the themes of the events with the ambitions of the cities that we go to. So, for example, this event here in Porto, it took us a year just to bring in all the partners and the city and to explain, and forums and meetings, so that we have brought in the minister, the Secretary of State, the local mayors. Remember that all the surrounding mayors are contributing to this event. So it's about learning how to dialogue with the stakeholders and then making them understand that these things are win-win. It's not about the bill at the end. It's not about the invoice. It's beyond the invoice. And of course, we all want to make money. That's right. But that is like the wages. That's the salary. Beyond the salary, what can we bring in? And the association events for me are the S in ESG. So we should all be focusing on association events because they bring induced impact, not just economic impact.
Mm-hmm. And how about sustainability? Because we have heard for many, many years about the importance of making more sustainable events. And at the end of the day, when you have to look to the prices, people often stop. How's the reality nowadays?
Okay, now I think everybody is way more aware. One of the things that helped businesses and companies especially understand sustainability as it impacts to our industry was when the European Union created the directive. The fact that today companies have to report, and even if I'm contracted, imagine I was contracted a few months ago by Turkish Airlines, and even if I'm doing an event, they have to report. So what I do counts. So I have to report too, even though the law doesn't make me report. I have to report. So it means that we apply thought concepts before we have an event. And as I said, I do believe that associations in themselves, there is a return on everything they do. So we have to think of sustainability in all its components. And very often we're talking about green and the environment. And it's not just about that. It's about people as well and profit. Events have to be, for associations, events have to create a profit. There's no other way. Associations live from the profits of their events. So it is the job of the PCO to negotiate to make sure that although everyone wins, the association wins as well, because they are the S, as I said, in ESG. Whatever an association is doing, they're doing to bring induced impact, positive, sustainable impact, be it to a sector, be it to professionals, if it's a confederation or a business association, be it to medicine, to engineering, to software. They are advancing the world. Very often they are absolutely terrible at explaining it, okay? But that's what they do. They advance the world. They advance the economy. They advance professions, and professions advance the economy. They advance jobs, and jobs advance the economy. They advance research and investigation and science, and science advances the economy. So they in themselves are already a contribution to sustainability. What we are looking at now in trends in our industry is in sustainability is that these mega events that we used to have they're getting less and less participants, okay? On average, the large events are 30% down on participants. They've never recovered truly after the pandemic. And what you're finding is a taste, which for our industry is brilliant, because instead of doing one event, we're doing 10. Okay, so that's good. I like profit, and that's important. So what you're finding is more of an annual event or biannual event or 3-year event. Like, for example, one of my clients, they used to do an event every year. Now they do a global event every 3 years, but they have regional events. Okay. And this contributes to having a more sort of neighborly travel. Okay. And a lot more people, for example, one of the things I criticize in Portugal is the non-investment in railway, because lots of people are opting for rail travel. And it's like for the Northern Europeans, it's their favorite mode of travel. So we're looking at every way where we can truly understand how we can contribute to all the elements of ESG. Congresses and conferences are education, so that in itself contributes to the economy. But as for the environmental impact, we apply rules that the large companies apply. And I think all PCOs are beginning to understand that you cannot have catering where the food is sourced at more than 100 kilometers. It should be locally sourced, that everything should be locally contracted. Even the global PCOs are more and more partnering with local PCOs so that they can have on-site teams, on-site staff, whereas before they used to bring a plane load of people to work on the event. It's no longer like that. You can see the ICCA event, 99% are local people, volunteers. We've even trained homeless people so that they can work for a few days. That is important. It's about delivering to the communities. That makes an event immediately sustainable.
Mm-hmm. But to all that, destinations have a key role, right?
Absolutely.
Because they can connect many stakeholders.
Absolutely.
Are destinations ready to do that?
No, that is the plain truth. I'm actually going to be on stage tomorrow talking exactly about this. I think destinations understand the economic value of meetings, not as much as I would like, but yes, they're beginning to understand the economic value of meetings. They're still using something which really brings me out in allergies. Okay. Every time I'm somewhere and someone says the word tourism, I whinge, because we are not tourism. Once and for all, let's put this in our brain. The only connection we have to tourism is that we use the same venues and the same hotels and the transport. Nobody goes to an event for tourism. That is not the motivation. The motivation is the content. If the content is rubbish, they're not going to go. Okay, let's be honest. So the motivation is business or education or science or research. The tourism is the added value. If on top of the right destination that we have an affinity with or a connection with, or that brings to the table the right stakeholders, because that is their job, convention bureaus are forgetting what they should be doing. Their job is also, they are a conduit. They are a gateway into the destination. Their job is to connect, for example, the Association of Innovation. Their job is to look at their destination, say, all right, what do we do as regards innovation? Who is working innovation in our destination? Who are the players? Who are the key players? What universities are here? What companies are very innovative? Bring them to the table and connect to the event that comes to them. And then they bring the right players on board. They're not doing that. They're only thinking themselves as promotion or sales. I don't even talk to them when they tell me that. I just walk out and do it myself, because literally that should not be their job in 2025. They have to be the conduit to the destination of what connects the DNA of the association to the same sector DNA in their destination. For example, let me say something really horrible here. 5 top associations in Portugal were invited to this event. exceptionally, this event never invites national associations. They are international associations because it's about mobility of events. We went, and you know how passionate I am about that. We went to research and we said, we're going to invite 5 and we're going to fight for them with ICCA. And ICCA said, okay. And we invited them and none of them came. How mind-blowingly ignorant, and they know who they are, is that? Okay? Because that means that even our national associations are not understanding what this is all about. Expanding, connecting, globalizing. They're not in it. They don't understand. And so it's really important that every day we keep educating our new people. For example, the Porto Mayor, who took office a couple of days ago, poor thing, and he got given this as a gift. This is a great gift. We don't have to educate Pedro Duarte because Pedro Duarte comes from a career in business. He was in Microsoft, and he understands that because Microsoft was all about events. Every time they launch, every time they do anything, it's all about a mega event. So he understands the role of events in business. So the moment we said, blah, 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 2 seconds, he got it. Okay. And that's what we need. We need people who get it and to stop saying, oh, tourism, this is not tourism. Okay. This is business events. It's the knowledge economy. It's what engineers and drives and connects and builds economies. This is the backbone of economic growth, and it's an engine for development.
Mm-hmm. Linda, you were always keen on mentoring, on education.
Absolutely.
How can we attract the best people nowadays to work on the meetings industry?
This is complicated because it goes back to what I said before. If you're connecting it to tourism, it's not the same attraction and appeal, because the image of tourism at the moment is too much tourism, over tourism. It's not right necessarily, but it's the image. And badly paid, long hours, blah, 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 blah. Our industry, look, I've been doing this for 40 years, 40. You would think I would be tired of it because I live on a plane. But no, it is so magnificent. You know, you wake up in the morning and you're going to change the world with something that you do. After sleepless nights, 6 months of not sleeping and working, I stand at the back of a room and I look into a plenary session and I think, I did this. It's just this sense of pride, you know, you see an award, you see someone launching their scientific discoveries, you see all this knowledge and research and, you know, because meetings are about meeting, sharing, learning, growing, connecting, and developing. That's it. That's what meetings are about. And each individual person and the community. And we're not using the right narrative, you know, for our industry. And we've been talking about this for 20 years. And I still see our Secretary of State, the ministers go on the stage like just now, tourism, 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 tourism. And it's not, you know, just come back from Namibia, spent a week with the minister in Namibia. And I'm telling you, when I finished speaking, she went, I had no idea, because that's not what we're selling. Do you see what I mean? So we need to be educating people, not in tourism with one they get 3 hours a week on events for 2 months. Okay. My God, the impact of responsibility of moving 500 people into a city and all the risks and the insurance, and it's not a 3-hour thing, you know. Oh, I organized my sister's wedding. I can do events. I want to smack them. I mean, and I'm not a violent person. So what we need to do is to make sure that we have the right narrative. We have to be talking. See, even in Portuguese, we use the word events, and the word events is very expansive, because a concert is a different type of event, it's an entertainment. And the mega corporate celebration is a whole other world. our industry in the meetings is a whole other world, which I'm sure you know, okay? So we have to be talking about the narrative has to be different, Rui. The narrative has to be different. And I truly believe that young people who want a career in management, in education for adults, in strategic communication, because I believe all events are strategic communication. It's my field of education, strategic communication and international relations. And it has been the best foundation for what I do and what I have done. If young people understood that this is about management and it's about managing a new enterprise every month, because an event is like a startup. You know when it's born. The only difference is that we know when it's going to die, if you see what I mean, which is 90 days after you paid all the bills. Okay. But it's like a startup. You have the communication department, the human resources department, the IT department, the financial department, the community. It's like a small startup. Sometimes not so small. Okay. Sometimes not so small, as you know. And you need to tell young people that it's about combining a love for marketing and positioning your destination and your country, accelerating your economy, being part of the growth of your country and the positioning of its brand worldwide, and management, strategic management, creating something that it's not an office job, okay? Creating something that is a different company every 90 days or every year, And if we can say this to young people, I run only one in Portugal, a few internationally. I run a strategic meetings management degree, postgraduate degree in Lisbon. And when students come, I make sure that our intake of students is from all sectors. We don't take students from tourism. We take students from the legal sector, from the economic sector, from everywhere. So they either have a degree, okay, in any field, or they have 3 years of experience, okay, if they don't have a degree. And then they come. And when I tell them what it's about, they understand. Well, I can do events. I'm a lawyer, but I can learn to provide strategic management. I can do, I'm an engineer, but I can specialize in engineer, which is the fastest growing sector, is the engineering event. And suddenly they understand, oh God, it's not about sexy events like concerts, which I love, etc. It's about development and growth, and and suddenly they just kind of grow 5 inches. They feel, this is truly important. I have a lawyer in my company. Her name is Sarah, and she did all the legal stuff. Okay. So after about 2 years, she said to me, I really want to go on site to an event because I hear about it and I do all the contracts, but I've never actually had the experience. So I told one of my managers to involve her more, and she was on site for a 3-day event. And at the end, she came to me and said, everything hurts up to my nose. I can't feel my feet, my legs. I love it. Can I do it again? And this is what we want, but we have to communicate it. We're not communicating it right.
Mm-hmm. Linda, how about this event, this Congress here in Porto? What would you like to take from this experience?
Okay, I attend almost all the ICCA events. So this is, what is new about this one is it's completely innovative. I truly believe that we have shown ICCA something they've never seen before, and they are the world, and we are Porto and Portugal. But I believe that Portugal is way ahead of the game, and sometimes we don't promote it as well as we should. Again, tourism. Okay. And I think that we have shown ICCA what you can do, what you can really do with an event. We walk the talk. Okay. We have shown them that by involving the municipalities, the governments, the communities, the artisans, the creative side of industry, all the players across the world, 237 different players, different sectors are involved in this meeting, everyone pulling together and everyone understanding why. they're doing it. And the community. Have you seen the welcome in the shops? Welcome ICCA. The taxi driver saying, welcome ICCA when they see the badges. The whole of Porto and the north, because you've got mayors from the rest of the neighboring cities participating. This is the veritable showcase of how events should be. This is what I believe and the destination should be doing. And ICCA is at first was scared to death, and I understand why. And they nearly fainted when we put the proposal forward. But now they say, this is a great playbook. We've given them a great playbook. The young people are really loving this playbook. They think it's exciting. They're all coming to me and saying how much they love it. So this is a playbook, I hope, for future events. You can see the destinations loving it and talking to us about how we did it. So I'm really proud that we put our best foot forward, that we created an innovative playbook that ICCA can take back and share with the world, and that this is the way to do it, guys. Just learn from us. We did it.
Linda, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.